Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. Military strategists talk about sleeping giants. Nations that are peaceful until provoked, at which point they mobilize with terrifying speed. But the greatest sleeping giant on Earth isn't a nation. It isn't an army. It is the American dad on a Sunday afternoon. He sleeps in his recliner. The game is on the TV. He seems harmless. But he possesses a sixth sense. A supernatural awareness of two things: the state of the lawn and the setting of the thermostat. Today's story is about the ill-fated invasion of the Zogian Empire. They landed in the suburbs of Ohio. They infiltrated a house. And then a private first-class Zog made a tactical error. He felt a little warm. So he turned the AC down by 2 degrees. He didn't know he had just activated the DAD protocol. This is the story of how an elite alien squad was defeated by cargo shorts, grill tongs, and lectures about the price of electricity. If you have ever been yelled at for leaving the lights on in an empty room, hit that like button. You are a survivor. And if you want to see a warlord defeated by a New Balance sneaker, subscribe and ring the bell. Close the door. You're letting the cold air out. High Commander Zarthon led the stealth team through the perfectly manicured bushes of 42 Maple Street. The Zogians were masters of infiltration. Their active camo armor rendered them nearly invisible. Their plasma silencers were state-of-the-art. Their mission was to secure a forward operating base in the human residential zone. Sector clear, Zarthon whispered into his comms. The biologicals are dormant. The male is in the primary chamber, engaging in a comatose state known as the nap. The female is in the garden sector. We have total surprise. The aliens quietly pried open a window. They slipped into the living room. It was a typical Earth dwelling. A large television. A recliner. A smell of lemon polish and old dog. On the recliner snored the dad. His name was Gary. He was wearing beige cargo shorts, a polo shirt tucked in, and white sneakers. His mouth was open. He looked like the least threatening organism in the galaxy. Pathetic, Zarthon sneered. This is the apex predator of the household? I could end him with a single claw. Commander, Private Zog whispered. My environmental suit is malfunctioning. The ambient temperature here is humid. I am overheating. Zarthon rolled his eyes. Adapt, Private. I cannot, sir. I see a control panel on the wall. It controls the climate. May I adjust it? Make it quick. We must secure the perimeter. Private Zog walked over to the small white box on the wall. The thermostat. The digital display read 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Zog reached out a gloved finger. Beep, beep. He lowered it to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. The air conditioner kicked on with a low hum. Cool air began to flow. Better, Zog sighed. Suddenly the snoring stopped. In the recliner, Gary's eyes snapped open. He didn't wake up groggy. He woke up with the instant, crystal-clear focus of a predator sensing a disturbance in the force. He sat up. He didn't look at the aliens. He didn't look at the plasma rifles. He looked directly at the wall. Who touched it? Gary whispered. His voice was low, dangerous. It carried the weight of 1,000 unpaid utility bills. Zarthon aimed his weapon. Human, stay down. We are the Zogian. Gary ignored the gun. He stood up. He walked towards the thermostat. He walked through the alien squad as if they weren't there. He brushed Private Zog aside. Gary looked at the display. 68 degrees Fahrenheit. His face turned a shade of red that defied the color spectrum. 68? Gary asked, his voice trembling with rage. Do you think I own the electric company? Do you think money grows on trees? Human silence. Zarthon shouted. I command you to. Gary turned. For the first time he acknowledged the heavily armed aliens. You, Gary pointed at Zog. You changed the setting. Do you know how much this is going to cost? We are not cooling the whole neighborhood. We are invaders. Zog stammered, stepping back. We are here to conquer. I don't care if you're the Tooth Fairy. Gary roared. In this house we keep it at 72. If you're hot, take off a layer. Put on a sweater. Do not touch the dial. Gary grabbed Zog by the armor plating. Zog was 7 feet tall and weighed 300 pounds. Gary lifted him off the ground with one hand. Dad's strength, Zarthon analyzed in horror. His adrenaline levels are impossible. He is channeling the power of frugality. Gary threw Zog through the front door. And shut the door. Gary screamed. Were you born in a barn? The noise woke the neighborhood. But it wasn't just Gary. The thermostat event had sent a psychic ripple through the suburb. It was the dad signal. Front doors opened all down Maple Street. Men in bathrobes and sandals stepped onto their porches. They sniffed the air. They sensed that someone, somewhere, was wasting energy. "Hey!" Bill from next door shouted, holding a weed whacker. "Is everything okay over there, Gary? I hear the AC compressor working too hard." "Aliens, Bill?" Gary yelled back. They turned it down to 68. 68. Bill's face went pale. "On a Sunday? Get the boys." The Zogian squad retreated to the street. "Commander," the lieutenant said, "we are surrounded by middle-aged males." They emerged from the garages. The dads of Maple Street. They weren't armed with guns. They were armed with tools. One held a power drill. Another held a pair of hedge clippers. A third was dual-wielding spatulas. They moved with the synchronized grace of a species that spends every weekend working on home improvement projects. "Open fire," Zarthon ordered. The Zogians fired plasma bolts. Bill, the neighbor, raised his weed whacker. The spinning nylon line intercepted the plasma. "You call that heat?" Bill laughed. "I've seen hotter grills at a tailgate." A dad named Steve charged. He was holding a flashlight. "Hold it steady," Steve shouted, blinding the aliens with 5,000 lumens of LED power. "I can't fix the problem if I can't see." The aliens were overwhelmed. The dads didn't fight like soldiers. They fought like handymen. An alien tried to stab Gary. Gary caught the blade with a pair of pliers. "This is loose," Gary noted. "You need a washer on this hilt." Terrible craftsmanship. He twisted the blade, snapping it. Then he hit the alien with a rolled-up newspaper. "No. Bad alien. Go home." Zarthon tried to flank them. He ran across the lawn. "Hey!" A dad named Mike emerged from behind a bush. "Get off the grass. I just reseeded that." Mike activated the sprinklers. The Zogian armor was not waterproof. The water hit their circuits. They sparked. "My fertilizer!" Mike screamed, tackling the warlord. "You're ruining the pH balance of the soil." The battle turned into a rout. The aliens were physically superior, but they lacked the dad reflex. They couldn't predict the lecture. They couldn't handle the disappointment. "I'm not mad," Gary said, pinning an alien to the ground. "I'm just disappointed. Is this how you enter a home? Without wiping your feet?" The alien started crying. The psychological damage was too immense. Zarthon, battered and soaked, crawled back to his shuttle. "Retreat," he screamed. "This planet is defended by maniacs. They care more about their grass than their lives." The shuttle lifted off. But as it ascended, Gary stood on the lawn. He put his hands on his hips. He shook his head. "Look at that transmission," Gary muttered to Bill. "That engine sounds rough. Probably needs an oil change. And that alignment is off." "Shame," Bill agreed, sipping a beer that had magically appeared in his hand. "Nobody takes care of their vehicles anymore." The Zogian fleet left the solar system. They marked Earth as a Class X forbidden zone. The entry in the galactic database read, "Species, human.caste, dad.abilities, supernatural strength when annoyed. Can sense thermostat changes from 5 miles away. Do not engage on weekends." On Earth, life went back to normal. Gary went back inside. He checked the thermostat. It was back at 72. He smiled. He sat in his recliner. "Honey?" his wife called from the other room. "What was that noise?" "Nothing, dear." Gary closed his eyes. "Just some solicitors. I handled it." He fell asleep instantly. The lawn was safe. The bill was low. The dad was at peace. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. We search for heroes in capes, but sometimes the hero wears cargo shorts and smells like sawdust. If your dad has ever yelled at you for holding the flashlight wrong, hit that like button. Comment below. What is the one thing your dad forbids you to touch? Subscribe. And turn off the lights when you leave the room. Money doesn't grow on trees. Nap time resumed.